Here.
Here. Okay, we have a prayer by Mary Walker.
Lord, we ask you to send your spirit of servanthood upon all of us gathered this evening to do your work for the benefit of all in our community. We ask you to bless our elected and appointed officials so they may deliberate with wisdom and act with courage. Bless the members of our community who come here to speak before council so they state their cause with honesty and humility. Lord, teach us also to be generous in listening so we may understand others' points of view. Lord, we ask you to bless us all, that everything that we do here tonight will move you to welcome us one day into your kingdom as good and faithful servants. We ask this in the name of our brother Jesus. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have the council minutes of the council meeting on November 5th and the work session November the 8th. Anybody has any corrections? If not, minutes stand approved. Now, Chief, are we ready to
We are, sir.
do the oath of office?
First one is Sergeant Holbrook.
Slip by your hair.
Amy Frantz. Beautiful wife. Face the mirror. There we go.
All right. And then state your name.
I, Carl Holbrook,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and the laws of the United States,
and the laws of the United States,
the Constitution
the Constitution
and the laws of the state of Ohio,
and the laws of the state of Ohio,
and the charter and ordinances
and the charter and ordinances
of the village of Greenhills,
of the village of Greenhills,
and will do the best of my ability
and will do the best of my ability
discharge the duties of the office of police sergeant,
discharge the duties of the office of police sergeant,
to which I have been appointed,
to which I have been
so
appointed,
help me God.
so help me God. Is it okay if I read a little something?
You may.
Alright. It's short, just bear with me for just a minute. Chief, Mayor, Ms. Kovac, and Council, I gratefully and humbly accept the position of promoting you to police sergeant. First, I would like to say that this news has been such a blessing for me, and I did not expect this change so soon. I am very happy and proud because I feel my efforts here have had positive and satisfactory results. I thank God for all the blessings He's given me throughout my life. I thank my wife and my family for their constant love and support. The department's leaders have treated me with the utmost respect and has not gone unnoticed. I am truly grateful for the trust they have put in me. I promise all of them I will not let them down and keep striving for the department's continued success. Being a patrol sergeant is a great responsibility, but this is also a great opportunity to demonstrate all I have learned and how capable I am. So I'm sure I will not disappoint you. I assure you I will work diligently, day by day, for the department and for our citizens. Thank you all. I appreciate it.
Okay, you're up. You're up.
Do you have a speech?
All right. So you're going to raise your right hand, put your left hand on the Bible, face the mirror. Switch around a little bit. I'll come over here.
All right. I,
I, Anna Hall,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and the laws of the United States,
and the laws of the United States,
the Constitution and the laws of the state of Ohio,
the Constitution and the laws of the state of Ohio,
and the charter
and the charter
and ordinances of the village of Greenhills, Ohio,
and the charter and ordinances of
village of Greenhills,
Greenhills,
and will, to the best of my ability,
and will, to the best of my ability,
discharge the duties of office of police officer.
and will
Discharge
discharge the
duties
duties
of the office of
of the
police
office
officer,
of police officer,
which I have been appointed.
which I have been appointed.
So help me God.
So help me God. I just want to say thank you for the opportunity. I truly appreciate it. I hope to make you guys all proud.
Well, thank you. Moving on, reports of municipal officials, municipal manager Yvonne Kovac.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to review the legislative report first of all for tonight. The first item we will have, you'll have before you is Resolution 28, establishing the part-time fire marshal position for the village. Fire inspections are not part of our contract with the Greenhills Fire Department, and yet they've done their inspections voluntarily over the years. This seems to be becoming a bigger and bigger task that we have in this village, and that would really be an unfair burden to put on volunteer workers who are also holding down other jobs. So we're pretty excited about this individual. We are going to be hiring his extensive experience as a fire marshal, and I really have no doubt this is going to be a real benefit to our village. The next resolution, number 29, it's a supplemental appropriation. Tonight, the additional funds that are going into lands and building, that represents, excuse me, grant money that we will receive in the form of a reimbursement for costs associated with the park and ride lot from the Transit Infrastructure Fund. So while it's going in there, it'll also be on the income side that we will receive back. And then the additional fund going into the pool accounts for the sandblasting and other prep that they have for the pool that will be painted in the spring. Excuse me. The next resolution, number 30, allows us to compensate an employee who really handled a significant increase in workload in the recent months. It's really difficult to describe the extent of the work that had to be done in the absence of another employee, and me too. You know, it was quite a burden, handled by just a few. This person did a great job, and I certainly thank her for what she has done, and she's very deserving of this. The next resolution, similar fashion, Chief filled in for me in my absence as acting municipal manager, did a great job as usual, and this would allow additional compensation for him to cover that time period. Excuse me, I'm really sorry. The next resolution, number 32, authorizes an addendum to our current contract with SwimSafe. If you remember, at the beginning of the year, we had an increase in what we thought we would be paying, up to $167,300. And that was by and large, you know, with our economy in such poor condition, cost of hiring the employees went up significantly. The YMCA actually ended up offering their employees like $15 an hour. We were able to get a lot of our employees, well, SwimSafe, but they hire a lot of Greenhills youth to be the lifeguards. They were willing to come back at $12.50, but that was a significant increase in staff costs for us, as well as chemicals and other issues that increased the cost down there. They are now coming, the costs are continuing to increase. They have now brought us for next year a contract in the amount of $200,500. Next year will be the last year in a 3-year contract that we currently have with SwimSafe, so we will be putting this out to bid, see if we can lower our costs, but I think we also have to be cautious of not losing any quality management that we have had down there. And the last resolution, number 33, we'll continue our relationship with Anthem for the healthcare for the employees, we were anticipating something in the 20 to 25% range, and we're extremely grateful to come in at 2.5% increase. So, wow. I mean, we have to be really lucky there. So that's the legislation for tonight. Some other items that I want to mention to you, and this start with some very big news for us. And I'm sorry, Deb Heimer, our finance director, couldn't be here tonight to share this information with you, but she has made the final payment on our non-voted debt. So that's very significant for us.
Wow.
Yeah, one was sold in 2002, one in 2008. So those have now been repaid. The voted debt will be repaid in 2024. And we owe $95,000 in principal and $6,000 in interest for that. So they're just about over. I'm going to talk a little bit about leaf collection. It continues. I have to say that unlike past years when the collection has been extended into January and February, one year we were still collecting leaves because they fell down in such, really slow. This year, they all came down very quick, so it's been a tremendous load for them. That is not an easy job, but they're moving along quickly with it and keeping up with other work as well. So, but some people are concerned they don't think they're quick enough, but realize that it's quite a load that they're having to collect. Also, looks like we're going to be getting another infrastructure loan from SORTA. So this one will pave Farragut from Winton to Enfield, and Enfield all the way around to Eswin. The whole back loop would follow where the buses drive. That's the area. So we're excited about that. That one is, we will only put in a third of that cost and get 2/3 of it back in the form of a grant. Yeah, glad about that. Business registrations are underway. Most of our businesses do comply readily with that. The process is moving along quite well, but we have done this for, I think this is the second year, and so we do intend to start fining those who don't participate, because it's really a very simple process and there's kind of no excuse for that. We're going to be putting a bid out for our mowing services. It's the third and final year of that contract as well. We've been very satisfied with Grounds Pro, but again, we'll see if we can get anything less expensive and still maintain the quality. Just a reminder that lineup is December 2nd from 6 to 8 p.m. down at the Commons. Always a fun night, and Santa will be putting up his box in the gazebo starting this Friday, November 25th, until December 6th to collect those Christmas requests. So that's what I have for now. Thank you.
Comments or questions for the manager?
Mr. Mayor, if I may, I just want to pass this to the village manager.
Oh, thank you. I know, I'm sorry, I don't know what's going on in my throat. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Jennifer may need one too.
You need one?
All right. Okay, next, Law Director Jeff Forbes.
Well, thank you, Mayor. Just really nothing new to report. I can tell you the village is not involved in any pending legal action right now. Even though the state is in sort of the lame duck legislative session, there really has not been any action on any bills of municipal interest or implication. So even though we thought there might be a very active lame duck session, there doesn't seem to be much action yet. And I guess, and that's really it. I don't have anything new to report on any other matters.
Okay. All right. Clerk of Council, Teresa Lawley.
Nothing to report.
Chief of Police, Neil Horton.
Thank you, Mayor. As you witnessed firsthand, we have a new police officer. We're very excited about that. Anna is 24 years old. She is a 2016 graduate of Ross High School and a 2020 graduate of the Butler Tech Police Academy. We took her from UC Health, where she had served as a police officer. So we're very excited. She's right now completing her administrative training, and next week we'll begin her training on the street in the FTO program, and we're very, very excited to have our department back to full strength. Everything works like it should when that's the case. We're very busy over Halloween. We participated in several Halloween events. We participated in 2 trunk or treats, one at First Baptist Church and another at the Early Childhood Learning Center on October 27th. Finally, on October 31st, in conjunction with our fellow safety employees in the fire department, we distributed treats along the streets of Greenhills and had some good response, and you can find some pictures on our Facebook page and on our webpage. We did have a very serious accident on November the 10th at 1:30 in the afternoon. There was a southbound 2005 Toyota that was driven by a 16-year-old from Forest Park that went off the roadway just south of Cromwell and continued in the grass. It went on the other side of the fire plug, didn't hit it this time because we've had 3 accidents there this year, but slammed into a utility pole just north of Andover. It hit the pole so hard that it dislodged the transformer at the top, but it didn't fall, and the pole stayed up. But the car's engine was forced backwards right into the driver's area. It's probably the most lengthy entrapment I've seen in all my years of service. Fire departments from 3 fire departments had to work feverishly to cut that car apart literally at the scene to extricate the driver. He suffered very serious injuries. He had 2 18-year-old passengers in the car that were also seriously injured, one more so than the other. I've talked with the manager. We're working on what we can do in terms of protection of our infrastructure by putting a guardrail, and I think Vaughn is leaning towards what would you call it, a cable type guardrail to best protect both motorists and our infrastructure. We've stepped up speeding patrols both on our side streets and on Winton. Our winner of our most expensive speeding ticket this past month was at 97 miles an hour on Winton Road. So the car did stop for us, but we have been issuing increased numbers of speeding citations there and elsewhere. On a different note, we did spend some time at Winton Woods South. Sergeant Holbrook and I went down. We read to a 2nd grade class. We have so much fun there, and the teacher wrote to us afterwards, "What a pleasure it always is. As silly as some of their questions are, you have such a huge impact on them. They were so excited." We were too. We had a lot of fun. We did training of our own here at the police department. We've wrapped up our required 2022 state continuing professional education requirements as mandated by the Ohio Attorney General. We were required to complete 24 hours of training. We completed 27. We were reimbursed by the state of Ohio for those training hours. And in addition to the required training that all of us participated in, last month we completed additional in-house training. Officers were trained right here in this room. You'd be amazed how it transforms into a gym when you want it to. We completed our defensive tactics. Sergeant Holbrook is our state certified defensive tactics instructor. Officer Mayberry completed a patrol and drug interdiction course at the Ohio State Patrol Academy on November 9th and 10th. Sergeant Holbrook just returned from a 3-day public information officer school in Columbus, and patrol officers participated in rifle training on October 26th through the 28th at the Indian Hill Range. We did have a couple bright spots that I thought might put a smile on your face. Sergeant Patton was reported a canine rescue on November 3rd, and he wrote, he responded with Officer Andy Moore for a reported auto accident involving an Amazon truck striking a dog. The dog was still alive and pinned under the truck. The dog owner was also on the scene. Mr. and Mrs. Paul Odegaard, who are residents in our F section, had a floor jack that the sergeant used to attempt to get the dog out from under the truck. They were able to jack up the rear of the truck and free the 4-month-old Great Dane, Bonnie, and she was taken by her owners to Grady for treatment. And happy to report, I think she's doing well from the last that I heard. We did have feedback from residents. I have received this note in the mail on October 21st. Dear Chief Fertelman, just when I thought the Greenhills Police Department could not get any better, 2 articles brought me to tears of gratitude for having police officers in the community who still show respect and compassion for our citizens, often forgotten. The Halloween visits offered for special needs children and the article about the officers making sure the man made it home safely are just two of many examples of the caring spirit found in our department. You truly are the police department with a heart, and we appreciate her comments. Then the last one is on November 11th, Officer Rob Lenhoff investigated an early morning report of a 5-year-old child found at the Greenhills Shopping Center. He found this young girl walking in the rain by herself. Of course, we did later investigate in conjunction with Children's Services, but the initial reactions were heartwarming. He wrote, "I was able to talk with the young child. She said she was told by her mom to walk to school. She was also able to communicate that she was hungry and that she was 5 years old. I transported her to our PD. At the PD, I gave the young child my lunch and put the PBS children TV show Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood on the computer." So sometimes being a police officer means you have to share your lunch. During the month of October, we made 19 criminal arrests, including charges for aggravated menacing, assault, domestic violence, illegal conveyance of drugs of abuse, possession of drugs, receiving stolen property, trafficking in drugs, and failure to appear. We responded to a total of 185 incidents, including 32 squad runs, 14 intrusion alarms, 9 warrants served, 7 lockouts, 7 trouble runs, 7 domestic trouble runs, 6 attempts to locate, 6 parking complaints, 5 domestic violence calls, and 5 suspicious vehicles. We provided mutual aid in 12 instances to our neighboring communities. We issued 33 traffic citations, 16 warnings, and investigated 2 traffic crashes. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Comments or questions of the chief? Thank you, Chief. All right, my report, I have 2 court receipt reports. One for the month of September, the bank balance is $20,421.54. Checks to be issued in the state of Ohio is $1,241, Hamilton County $42, and the village of Greenhills $5,978. For the month of October, the ending bank balance was $21,838.04. State of Ohio received from the village court fines $1,587, Hamilton County $60, and village of Greenhills $6,557.50. So that's basically all I have, except we need to be thinking about a date to do the Christmas lighting decorations for the major mayor awards. So we encourage everybody to get their lights out and decorate, and we'll be selecting the date here later in the meeting.
I think everybody's anxious because I see more Christmas lights than I ever have before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I saw a couple of Christmas trees on cars.
Yeah.
Well, the day we had 75-degree weather, I saw people putting their Christmas lights up in shorts, and then 2 days later it was snowing. So I think some of the people looked at the weather forecast and thought this would be a great time to do it, this weather, especially with what was coming.
And the service department was out putting lights up today, so we're getting ready. Okay, reports of committees, intergovernmental affairs, laws and rules. Maria Walther.
We're going to have our first meeting of the year on February the 28th at 6 p.m. Laws and rules, safety is at 6? Correction, at 6:30. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Recreation, cable television, Rachel Hudson.
We met today, and we are reviewing the status of the pickleball court and possibly looking into resuming that project.
Okay. Service and Streets, Jennifer Osmonoglu.
I just want to remind everyone that the leaf collection schedule is mirroring the recycling. So when your recycling gets picked up, you need to have your leaves out on that Monday. And then that'll, when they'll get them, when they can. Thank you.
All right, Safety, Melanie Hermes.
Safety Committee met today for the sole purpose of looking over the fire marshal job description and making sure that the fire department and the police department and everyone was on board and on the same page. So happy to report that we are excited for the new fire marshal position and think it'll be an added benefit to the village and especially to the safety committee. And our first meeting of the year will be February 28th as well. If one's at 6 and one's at 6:30, I had them reversed, so we'll confirm that.
All right. Finance and Audit, Jack Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Finance Committee will be meeting on December 7th. Time to be determined based upon people's schedules to review the appropriations for fiscal year 2023, which seems amazing. We're talking about such
so fast.
years. The years gone by rather quickly. At your place tonight, I put the general fund recap for the months of both the months of September and October, so we're up to date. You can see for yourself that the income tax receipts are running well ahead of 2021. Overall, the general fund revenues are up, and currently, at the end of October this year, the general fund balance stood at $1,919,362.51. Expenses have run true to course, and there were no transfers into the general fund. Haven't been since June. So unless you have any questions, that will be the end of my report.
Hearing none. Next is Community Development, Jeff Halter.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. We met today. Mainly, part of it was Rachel joined us as a co-chair, and we're getting up to speed in preparation for the year ahead. I will say that I've had 2 different occasions where residents have reached out with ideas about building community. I was really encouraged by that, you know, coming out of COVID and everything else, I think people do want to connect with their neighbors, and so we're looking at possible ways to do that and to foster that kind of, I guess, fellowship, if you will, amongst our community, and we'll let you know coming up. We also talked about beautification awards, and we're glad that you're doing much better and out of the hospital. That's a good thing. But we'll be starting that program up for the upcoming year. But that concludes my report.
Okay. All right. This is an opportunity for residents and non-residents to make comments solely regarding legislation that's on the current agenda. Non-residents must obtain prior permission. This is the time for residents to comment on legislation listed on the agenda for this session of council. When recognized, please come forward to the podium, complete the sign-in sheet, verbally indicate that you're a resident of Greenhills or a non-resident, then state your comments. Comments will be limited to 4 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Patty Anbon. I live at 32 Chalmers Lane. I haven't been here to see you in quite some time, so I like this opportunity to comment on, first off, your resolution for the part-time fire marshal. Is this to replace, do we have a code inspection person or not on board now?
We do. This would be in addition to 2 separate duties.
Okay, so we had Bob. Bob left. Who's the code enforcement person now?
His name is John, and he's code enforcement.
Which is
Property
different.
maintenance.
Okay, does he have a last name? I know Bob didn't.
John Yount is his name.
Yachts, why?
Why? Yes.
Okay. And how do you schedule an appointment with him? Is he like Monday through Friday or?
He works different hours every week. You
Uh-huh.
can call the office or you can leave a message on the website at codeenforcement@greenhillsohio.org.
Oh, okay, great. All right, is that on the website?
Yes.
Okay. And I will say that we commented on the leaves earlier, which I will bring that up later on. But my next comment would be on the resolution for adjusting Brenda Davis' salary. I would like to compliment her as an outstanding employee. Throughout all the years I have interacted with her, I have never once had any kind of interaction that I thought was insulting, demeaning, or harassing, which I cannot say for most of the folks that represent the village. So I think her pay increase is well earned. The next thing would be for the police chief, acting municipal manager, which I think that's kind of in the Constitution or whatever. But how long were you out?
6 weeks.
6 weeks, okay. And then I'm just wondering on this, how much, in terms of going back to number one, how much recruiting did you do to come up with a fire marshal, and what is his name or her name, whatever?
Well, we are, do I have to answer all that tonight? I don't have all the data with me.
Okay.
We'll first be hiring that individual tonight.
Okay, and does he have it or her have a name?
He most certainly does.
And could you provide that for accountability and transparency?
Troy,
Yes, ma'am.
what's your last name? I'm sorry, I'm blanking. Schwabel, that's right.
W-A-B-L-E.
Thank you.
And how much advertising or recruiting did you do? I mean, did you get applications and so forth and hold interviews?
We contacted people that we knew would know other fire marshals, so it was a...
Okay, then I'm wondering on this health insurance item number 6, did you take bids on that or you just were
We
comfortable?
do. We use Haran Associates to market that every year for us.
Okay, and going back to number 1, I guess one of the questions I and others have had for years is that why is it that this village wants to employ people to do jobs like code enforcement part-time or fire marshal part-time when they could contract with the village, with the county, and have a full scope of well-qualified full-time people, because other villages do that. And I can't adjust my financial mind to figure out why you think this is a better route.
Well, I'm not aware that they get that service from the county free.
Well, no,
you know,
it's not
in
free,
my-
but it's professional, qualified, and it's there 24/7. That's the difference.
You know, this is a high priority for this village, and I think it warrants somebody on staff to do it.
Well, and it also
Okay.
would require you
Your
to
time
make
is up.
to make the investigation to find out what is
Thanks.
feasibly the best for the
Thanks, Ms.
village.
Amplin. Anybody else? All right. New business, there's no unfinished business, new business, resolution number 2022-28-S, affirming the creation of a part-time fire marshal position and establishing a salary for said position. Ms. Hermes?
Resolution number 2022-R28S, affirming the creation of a part-time fire marshal position and establishing a salary for said position. Whereas Section 2.05D of the village charter provides that council shall have the power to establish the number of employees and officers in the various offices, departments, divisions, bureaus, boards, and commissions of the municipality, and to fix the rate of their compensation, hours of work, and to provide such fringe benefits as may be deemed proper by the council. And whereas the municipal manager has recommended to council and has determined that there is a need to establish the position of part-time fire marshal. Now, therefore be it resolved by the council of the village of Greenhills, Ohio, members elected thereto concurring, Section 1, that council for the village of Greenhills hereby affirms the creation of the position of part-time fire marshal, who shall report to and be under the supervision of the municipal manager. Section 2, that the base rate of pay for the part-time non-exempt position of code enforcement officer shall be set at $25 per hour, with hours expected to total 24 hours per pay period. Section 3, that this resolution shall take effect immediately upon its adoption. I so move for this adoption.
Second.
Okay, it's been approved and seconded. Any comments?
As I mentioned, we did discuss it with the fire chief and how it would work in conjunction with the volunteer fire department. And I feel like they have a great understanding on how they can work together and be beneficial to each other.
Okay. Clerk poll council?
Ms. Hermes?
Aye.
Mr. Reed?
Here, aye.
Ms. Hudson?
Aye.
Ms. Osmond
Aye.
Ms. Walker?
Aye.
Okay,
Mr. Walter? Aye.
we forgot.
Mr. Walker, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
That's a resolution number 2022-28S, R28S passes, affirming creation of part-time fire marshal position and establishing a salary for said position.
Can I ask one quick question? When you were reading, you said 24 hours of, in section 2. Is it 24 or 25?
It is 25 hours.
Sorry, I just wanted to
I
clarify.
probably, because 24 hours per day
Oh,
is
sure,
probably
yeah.
stuck in my head. And that, to clarify, that's per pay period, which is every 2 weeks, for those who aren't aware of the pay period schedule in the village.
Thank you.
All right, resolution number 2022-R29-F, making supplemental appropriations and transfers. Mr. Lee.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution 2022-29F, resolution making supplemental appropriations and transfers. Whereas the 2022 annual appropriations that were adopted on December 14th, 2021 are to be amended. Whereas the appropriations must not exceed the total available resources of the village per Ohio Revised Code Section 5705.36A5. Therefore, an amended certificate of estimated resources has been requested from the County Budget Commission. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the Village, Greenhills, Ohio, Section 1, since certain actions are needed in the monies appropriated so to permit the village to meet its fiscal obligations for the year 2022, the following items of expenditures are to supplement the appropriations for expenditure for the year 2022. Fund description: General Fund, account number 1000.730. Initial appropriation $584,000, change $200,000, total, new total $784,000. Lands and buildings, swimming pool, account number 2909, appropriation $253,500, change is $12,000, new total is $265,500. Section 2, that the following transfers of fund be made from previously appropriated monies. None. Section 3, that this resolution shall take effect and be in full force from and after the earliest date allowed by law. Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of this resolution.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments?
You can see on the attachment is the supplemental appropriations for 2022.
Okay. Clerk poll the council.
Mr. Walter?
Aye.
Ms. Walker?
Aye.
Ms. Osmond
Aye.
Ms. Hudson?
Aye.
Mr. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. Herman?
Aye.
Okay, resolution number 2022-R29-F, making supplemental appropriations and transfers, passes. Next, resolution number 2022-R30-F, authorizing a pay adjustment for a village employee. Mr. Lee.
Thank you, Mayor. And Resolution 2022-R30-F, resolution authorizing a pay adjustment for the village employee. Whereas the council desires to compensate a village employee appropriate for the level of work being performed. Therefore, be it resolved by the Council of Village, Greenhills, Ohio, Greenhills, State of Ohio, that Section 1, Brenda Davis shall be compensated as follows: $21.43 per hour. Section 2, said pay shall be retroactive to August 26, 2022. Section 3, that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its adoption. Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of this resolution.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any comments? All right, hearing none. Clerk, poll the council.
Okay, Mr. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. Hudson?
Aye.
Ms. Oxman-Nogley?
Aye.
Ms. Walter?
Aye.
Ms. Hermes?
Aye.
Mr. Coulter?
Aye.
All right, resolution number 2022-R30-F passes, authorizing the pay adjustment for a village employee. Next, resolution number 2022-R31-F, authorizing a temporary pay adjustment for the acting municipal manager. Mr. Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution 2022-R31-F, resolution authorizing a temporary pay adjustment for the acting municipal manager. Whereas the chief of police served as the acting municipal manager during the time that the manager was recovering from major surgery, and whereas council desires to compensate the chief for the additional level of work performed during that time. Therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the Village Greenhills, State of Ohio, that Section 1, the chief of police will be compensated in the amount of $2,532.08 for the period of time during which he served as acting municipal manager, said time period being September 28th, 2022 through November 9th, 2022. Section 3, that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its adoption. Mr. Mayor, I gladly support this resolution.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any comments?
Can I make a comment, Mr. Mayor?
Mhm.
I just want to say that when I first moved to this village, my first interaction with Chief was when I was becoming a foster parent. I was getting a baby, which I was not slotted for, and he so graciously bought a crib that I still have at my house that helped for 2 babies and 2 infants that were in need and came with under an emergency. And my grandfather, especially being retiring from the Captain of the Police Department where I'm from, it was scary for him to retire and then to move, and I cannot express just my gratitude for how much you do for the village and just for me and my children being able to know that we live in a safe environment where we can trust our police officers and we know that they care for us. Even going to church now, and Sergeant Holbrook is there too, so just knowing who's above him, I just can't tell you how much comfort and joy it brings to me. And I love that I'm able now to serve on a council to where that servitude and selfless service is recognized, and that you guys are willing to go above and beyond for that. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Hear, hear.
Well
Yes.
said.
Yes, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Okay, clerk, poll the council.
Okay. Ms. Oxman-Nogley?
Aye.
Ms. Walter?
Aye.
Mr. Coulter?
Aye.
Ms. Hudson?
Aye.
Mr. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. Hermes?
Aye.
Okay. Resolution number 2022-R31-F, authorizing temporary pay adjustment for the acting municipal manager, who always does a great job.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Resolution number 2022-R32-R, authorizing the municipal manager to execute an addendum to the contract with SwimSafe. Ms. Hudson?
Resolution number 2022-R32-R, authorizing the municipal manager to execute an addendum to the contract with SwimSafe. Whereas the Village of Greenhills has previously entered into a 3-year contract with SwimSafe for the period of 2021 through 2023, and whereas due to economic conditions and rising costs, SwimSafe has proposed an addendum to said contract. Now therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the Village of Greenhills, Ohio, members elected thereto concurring, Section 1, that the municipal manager is hereby authorized to execute the addendum to the contract with SwimSafe, increasing the annual cost of operation for the 2023 attached hereto as Exhibit A and incorporated herein by reference. Section 2,
that this resolution shall take effect and be enforced from and after the earliest period allowed by the law. Mr. Mayor, I move to adopt the resolution.
I second it.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any comments? Okay. Clerk, poll the council.
Okay, Ms. Hermes?
Aye.
Ms. Hudson?
Aye.
Ms. Osmond?
Aye.
Ms. Walker?
Aye.
Mr. Reed?
Aye.
Mr. Halter?
Aye.
Okay, resolution number 2022-R32-R passes, authorizing the municipal manager to execute an addendum to the contract of Swoon Safe. Next resolution, number 2022-R33-F, authorizing the municipal manager to enter into an agreement with Anthem for providing health insurance coverage for the employees of the Village of Greenhills. Mr. Lee.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution 2022-R33-F, authorizing the municipal manager to enter into an agreement with Anthem for providing health insurance coverage for the employees of the Village of Greenhills. Whereas the Village of Greenhills provides health insurance benefits for eligible employees, and whereas the village has utilized Horan Associates to request and review proposals for health insurance coverage from various carriers and determined that the proposal submitted by Anthem was the best proposal for the village in terms of quality, service, adaptability, and reflects a continuation of the current plans. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the Village, Greenhills, Ohio. Section 1, that the municipal manager is here authorized to enter into an agreement with Anthem for the purpose of providing health insurance for eligible employees for the term January 1, 2023 through December 31st, 2023. Section 2, that the village will offer one PPO plan, option 56 from Anthem. The village will continue with the 80% employer, 20% employee premium split. Section 3, that the finance director is hereby authorized to pay Anthem monthly premiums totaling an annual amount of approximately $165,000, said amount fluctuating depending upon the number of persons enrolled in the plan. Section 4, that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its adoption. Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of this resolution.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments?
I think a 2.5% increase is flat out amazing.
Yeah.
We think that inflation is running somewhere between 7 and 8%. You know, that's terrific. So,
All right, clerk, poll the council.
Okay, Ms. Hudson?
Aye.
Ms. Walker?
Aye.
Mr. Halter?
Aye.
Ms. Osmond?
Aye.
Ms. Herman?
Aye.
Mr. Reed?
aye.
Okay, resolution number 2022-R33-F, authorizing municipal manager to enter into an agreement with Anthem for providing health insurance coverage for the employees of the Village of Greenhills passes. Okay, next item, we have council comments. Do we have any council people want to make comments? No? How about the municipal calendar?
Light up is December 2nd, right? And what's the time frame for light up, 6 to 8?
6 to 8.
And in addition on to what Mr. Halter just said, we'll have cookies with the cops at Light Up. So we'll have more cookies to pass out.
And Santa will be there.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And horse and buggy.
Are we having the chainsaw ice sculpting?
You know, they had a fire at their facility, so unfortunately not. But hopefully next year.
Yeah.
Goodness. Do we want to pick a date to do
Melting in disappointment.
the review of the Christmas lights? For those who want to, how about like Tuesday, the 8th, I think, isn't it?
6th?
6th? Yes,
Will that give people enough time to get the lights up, you think? Is that what-
I would think so. We could do it the 6th or the 13th.
I would opt for the 13th.
Okay, all right, since you're one of the volunteers to
It's not something.
That's a Tuesday.
Tuesday, the 13th? Okay. And I'll need a couple more volunteers.
I'll volunteer.
Okay, all right.
I will be unable to attend because it is adult dance with me and my daughter's dance lessons. So I will be doing jazz and tap that evening.
Please send a video.
Please take video.
Okay, hold on a minute.
First 13 people.
The 13th is not good for me. I have a grandson having a swim meet. Well, it might be over by then. I could do it. The swim meet is like at 3:30. I don't know how long these things last, but we could do it at 6:30.
You want to do it on the 6th? That's all right.
I'll be out of the country on the 6th.
Okay, well, let's stick with the 13th, and
Okay.
we'll set the time when I find out how long these things last.
Perfect hours.
Okay. All right. Okay, moving on. This is a community for residents, non-residents to appear before council. Non-residents must obtain prior permission. This is the time for citizens to comment on matters before council. When recognized, please come forward to the podium, complete the sign-in sheet, verbally indicate if you are a resident of Greenhills or a non-resident, then state your comments. If you have questions, the questions will be recorded and referred to the manager's office for response. This will allow time for thoughtful and thorough consideration to be given to each question. Council meetings are recorded for ease of transcriptions. Comments are limited to 4 minutes. Speakers may not yield any or all of their time to other speakers.
Monique Mason-Halter, Greenhills resident. I'm here tonight regarding the small cell facilities ordinance that council passed in September. I appreciate that you finally passed an ordinance. However, it still does not provide the maximum power available to Greenhills to prevent the irresponsible placement of wireless facilities and prevent the adverse impacts it could have in our village. Not having a strong ordinance leaves our village vulnerable to unneeded and unwanted infrastructure. If no wireless service gap has been identified in a neighborhood, the village has the right to deny installation. However, that condition needs to be included in our ordinance. Over the past several months, I've been to most meetings and work sessions, and I still don't understand why you are choosing to leave the village vulnerable to unneeded and unwanted infrastructure. So I'm asking again that council strengthen this ordinance. As you know, Amberley Village, Marymount, and other local communities have passed ordinances stronger than ours. Regarding the Greenhills Small Cell Facilities Ordinance, there are a few specifics in the guidelines section on what is required for permit application. The permit process included in Exhibit B is under Yvonne's control and not subject to council approval. More specifics need to be added to the application materials section. Also, regarding the Greenhills ordinance, there are a few specifics in the guidelines section on what reporting is required for permit application, like a compliance report on federal standards. Last month, I read from the Marymount ordinance, since Councilmember Maria Walther has said during meetings that she has spoken to Marymount council members about their ordinance. Since Ms. Hudson was not on council earlier this year, I'm going to read something included in the Amberley Village ordinance, which I've read from before. The Amberley Village application procedure requires a pre-application meeting to discuss projects on a conceptual level with the village, including application types, location, design, process, and other similar factors. Application materials required include confirmation of compliance with state and federal environmental regulations, a sworn affidavit prepared and signed by an RF engineer, confirming that the facility conforms with applicable governmental regulations. The applicant must also provide the ambient noise level generated from the equipment, if any. Of course, the Marymount ordinance requires that upon any proposed increase of at least 10% in the effective radiated power or any proposed change in frequency use, the applicant shall submit updated certifications for review by the village. All of this would be good to include in the Greenhills ordinance too. We all agree on the fact that municipalities with weak ordinances can get in trouble when refusing a permit to an applicant. That's why I ask again that council members strengthen our small cell facilities ordinance to prevent the irresponsible placement of these facilities in our neighborhoods. Thank you.
Patty and Vaughn, 32 Chalmers Lane, I already signed in. There is a state mandate that all elected officials and public employees attend the Sunshine Law training, and I was just hoping we could have a show of hands of who actually sitting here has attended that.
Twice.
Okay, just one person is the only one here that's done this?
representing all council.
Please?
Okay, continue with your statement.
Okay.
We're not going to enter into discussion here.
Also, someone needs to pay attention, that clock's wacko. Yeah, I think that, obviously, I don't know if Ms. Hudson is aware that that is a requirement, so if you check into it, they have them scheduled different
Do
places.
you realize she's been here 2 months, ma'am?
Sir, I am pointing out the responsibilities of public officials.
Okay.
You might not value that, but the rest of us, there's something called transparency and accountability, and that's what we don't see a whole lot of here in Greenhills. We have resolutions and so forth that are written out that don't even mention the names of who it is they're talking about. And, you know, and then you go into executive session and claim that it's for either the sale or purchase of property. That's not good enough. That is not accountability. That is not transparency. You're not letting the public know who it is you're referring to, how much money you're referring to, what length of time you're going to do it on. You're not even meeting the minimum standards for transparency. You pass things and you say there's an Exhibit A attached. I've been coming to these meetings since 2007. I see an Exhibit A on this swimsuit thing, but I'll say, I can't tell you the scores and scores of resolutions and ordinances that have been posted with no sign of any Exhibit A. So in other words, you leave all of the taxpayers in the dark. That is not being responsible, it's not being accountable, it's not being transparent. I would like an opportunity to meet Ms. Hudson afterwards. I'd like to know a little bit about your background, if you don't mind. I will point out something you mentioned, the leave collection. Is it okay for someone to gather up all their leaves and take it to someone else's in front of their house and dump it? I mean, is that okay? Because it's still the planting strip, so if someone didn't want to have a pile of leaves in front of their house, is it okay just to haul it over to someone else's house and dump it?
I would say that it probably isn't morally okay, but I would think that, and you could ask Chief about this, I would think that there's probably not a law against that.
You're right, because I looked into the ordinances today. And what it is that it's this aggravating menacing, and I'd like to report, which you already know, Dave Eichert has done it 4 times now, and it's getting old. It's time for someone here to have the backbone to point out to him that when he rakes leaves at his house on Damon Road, they go in front, which he does. When he rakes leaves up at 1 and 2 Chalmers Lane, he puts the leaves in front of his property. He comes and gets the leaves out of the backyard where his tree has dropped them on his rental property, drags them through my yard and dumps them in front of my property, which I just fertilized. And I mean, it's just total arrogant, aggravated menacing. And I would like to report that, and I would hope that somebody could have a word with him. And I know he's tight with you folks, but anyhow, it's getting old. The other thing would be my comment in recreation with regard to the pool. How many families actually have family memberships to the Greenhills pool? 200 maybe, you know, and so you're agreeing 200. So in other words, the taxpayers are forking out over $1,000 per family to keep that pool open. The other thing is, I can speak to at least Ms. Hermes, Mr. Moore, Mr. Lee, have all had
Time's up. Thanks,
their
Ms.
relatives
Amon.
working at the pool.
Thank you.
And it's time that the taxpayers understand the overhead that it's costing us.
Okay. Thanks. Okay. No other business, meeting adjourned.